With the recent rise in the gender-based violence reports that we get to read every day, I believe that nothing will ever be enough, not even the hashtags, not even the movement that will come with the gender-based violence reports that we read every day. If anything, I've seen that South Africa is a country that reacts more than actually acting, and if anything, people will continue doing what they're doing because they will act out of impunity, knowing quite well that they will never be held accountable. Can more be done? Yes. How? By having the country come up with harsher prison terms, if anything, maybe reinstate the capital punishment. However, the disadvantage to that is that people that have not committed any crime will therefore be held accountable for other people's sins. But with that being done, or maybe trying to spark a dialogue on specific stuff that can be done to actually try and fight or eradicate women dying in the hands of men, then pretty much South Africa will be able to go very far with everything. When will that be done? We don't know. But with all the movements that are created, I believe that nothing will be done because South Africa is good at actually forming part of movements, have the energy at the beginning, and then slowly die out immediately after the certain circumstance or the situation that we're facing also dies out. So if anything, if South Africa was a country that would invest more in acting rather than reacting, then we'll pretty much go very far. But until then, all the detrimental occurrences that are happening in society will continue to happen because what you allow to happen is what will continue.
Although the movement's really important, I don't think that it was entirely practical, just because most women are tied to their duties, especially work-related things, and can't just, boycott them for a day. Not just because that would affect society, but because it would affect them personally. So I think that the call to action was a little bit impractical, and as a result, I think in future campaigns there should be some sort of thought put into what is actually practical for women, especially women in third world developing countries that rely on certain jobs for income or don't have the privilege of just taking a day off.
I don't want to sound negative, but history has shown that women will protest, women will march. From the rape protests that happened in Rhodes to the total shutdown last year, it's like every single year we're fighting the same battle. We are saying the same things, we're screaming all the time and asking for a change. But unfortunately, if the government doesn't do anything, nothing will change. And the other problem is that we're having conversations in such elite spaces, and I'm calling them elite spaces, that these conversations are had by middle class people, whereas we should be touching people in the communities, and they need to also understand that you can't hit a woman. Raping a woman is wrong, because there's also that mentality that's instilled in women themselves that from the townships that a man doesn't love you if he doesn't beat you. So something needs to change in the education of people, how we educate people, how we teach these things to people. And I think the Department of Education is trying to implement that, which is a very important thing. But we can protest, we can scream, we can shout, but all it does is make noise for a few days, a few months, and then it's back to normal. It's business as usual.
So I think that the problem is bigger than all of us. I think the problem is men. As much as women can talk about this until we're blue in the face, we can talk about this until kingdom come, if we want, but women are not attacking themselves. Children are not abducting themselves. They're not killing themselves. We're not raping ourselves. I think we've been saying that men need to do better, but I think we need to start calling it. Men need to stop raping. Men need to stop kidnapping children. They need to stop killing and raping these kids. That's what needs to happen. Men need to be part of the conversation in WhatsApp groups, on Twitter, in your home rather, even actually. That's where the change needs to start. It sounds small, but if men in our communities start to change, I believe that's the only time that we'll see change. I actually don't even want to speak about what government can do because I think it's just an upsetting subject. But I think men in our communities need to do better. They need to see women. They need to stop raping and killing and kidnapping women and children.
I feel like parents should teach their children or their sons at a very young age that it is not okay to beat women up. It is also not okay women are not your property. Because I've heard so many men when you're bringing up this conversation and they'll be like, no, I wouldn't do it. I won't do it because I have sisters, I have a mother, I have my aunties and everything, and they would kill me. And I'm also against that because then it means you only care about the women that are around you. You should learn to respect each and every woman for who they are and not just the ones that are important to you or around you. Start respecting women. Women are important. You've seen what happens when you're not around.
Well, I would like men to stop thinking that women dress for them, because we dress for ourselves. And if we are confident in what we wear, we don't think any men can touch us and feel that we belong to them.
As a woman, I felt unsafe many times in my life. Doing the simplest of things, like going to this puzzle shop to buy bread when my mom would send me, or getting off a taxi and walking home and being leered at by construction workers. Even family friends that were supposed to be trusted would make inappropriate comments about me being their wife and such. I feel that the Without Us movement is more than just about women staying away on one day. I believe that it shows that women matter and that we are active members of society, and you can't just be abused and killed and live in fear and still show up and be active members of society with bleeding hearts and being fearful.
Honestly, it's encouraging to see a lot of men taking part in the whole conversation and being in the front line of it, if I may say. But I feel like action speaks louder than words. So it's one thing saying you want this whole gender-based violence movement to go somewhere, or you don't agree with men hitting women, but what exactly are you doing as a man? And I feel like it's all talk but no action. So if you see your friend whistling to a girl and harassing her and you're not doing anything, and then here you are on social media saying I'm for the movement, isn't that a bit hypocritical? So I feel like that needs to change. Men need to take a step. Men need to take action. You can't be at the background looking or watching us women taking a stand for ourselves, but you need to play your part as well. I feel like men are the one that needs to protect us and make sure that we are loved and we don't step out of that house in fear.
I don't think it's enough, and it looks like the more we actually do these movements, the more women still get killed because there are still reports online. So I don't think there's any amount of protest, stay away, or hashtags that would, solve this femicide or gender-based violence, because us protesting doesn't mean that men will start to feel secure, because I think it's all about feeling insecure and powerful and overpowering women, because women don't have physical strength.
I think that the movement alone is not enough. Honestly speaking, we can march as much as we want, but then if the government and our justice system are not meeting us halfway, we're not eradicating the problem. So I feel that the government need to meet us halfway so that we can fix the problem, because we can try all we can to stop whatever that is happening with the gender-based violence. But then if the government is not doing anything about it, then we're not getting anywhere. Because believe you in me, we're working in the same state as our perpetrators.
I don't think what is being done is enough, because even during movements such as Without Us, Am I Next, I Will Not Be Next, there are still women and children being killed. There are still young women and children being raped. So I don't think that a lot of people take these movements seriously. I think they just take them as a trend. They just take them as another strike. So no, I don't think it's enough.